because in many instances, most instances I would say, it will be facing and the garment that you need to work against each other with understitching. Okay? And you just join the seam. You're making your most basic seam at ½ inch, one of your first skills. Use the ½ inch mark on the machine metal plate, and just make your regular, I would say, ¼ inch, because in production, facing and necks and armholes are usually ¼ to 3/8 seam allowance, not ½ inch. Okay? You can do your ¼ inch seam. Do back stitches. And ooh, this one is fast to make. Unless I'm trying to get it faster. And you just join the seam. You're doing regular seam, nothing else. Just regular seam. You seam it together. Back stitch at the end. Cut the thread. Oops. Sorry guys, I need to thread it back. So this is the first part. You just join the facing and the garment with the regular seam at ¼ inch or sometimes at ½ inch. Okay. I'm not biting the thread. I'm not referring to my grandma if we have to upload it on the YouTube, but I will put it on the companion. It will belong to our class Sunday. Okay. So after you're done with the first step, I'd like you to iron it on every side as is together. So it will release the seam tension, it will keep it nice and flat. And then what you need to do, you look at the facing part and you just turn it to the side, making sure that facing part and both seam allowances go together. Okay. So facing and seam allowances go together. So seam allowances always go toward the facing and they're stitched together. So you end up with 3 layers. Question? Okay. And you can even iron it this way, so you will prepare it to be flat and nice and easy, so you protect the seam allowance from bending up and down. But with cotton it's easy, you can even press it by hand and it will stay. And then you apply the edge stitch. The edge stitch is, I would say, anything between 1/16 of the inch from the seam line to a slim 8.
Do we eyeball it, you said? We just do it by eye?
You can, that's what the skill is for. You can practice, and it's not that difficult as you think. You can just watch, for example, one of the hints. You can watch the opening of the foot and the inner part of the right side of the foot will be running by the seam edge. This way you will do a very nice 1/16. So the inside of the foot on the right side will align with the seam line. You can try that, or if you want to do it a little wider, just use your eye.
Could we do it the other way so it's easier to see, or would that be the wrong way?
Well, I guess you can do it the other way, but this way, it's kind of doesn't matter. If you watch inside of the foot, it doesn't give you a different view.
Did you mean flipped over?
Like flipped over? Yes, I meant flipped
Right.
over.
Oh, you mean this way?
Yeah, like that. Would that be the
I
wrong
would
way?
advise to do that because you want to make sure that it's as nice as possible on the right side of the fabric, even though it goes toward the wrong side of the garment.
Okay.
Because it's hard to control how it's going to look on the right side of the fabric if you do it from the wrong side.
Okay. That makes
I
sense.
would, yeah, it's like a top stitch. Edge stitch is like a top stitch. You always do it from the face of the garment.
Okay.
Okay? And I'm always, I don't know how about you guys, but I'm always more comfortable to have the seam line on the right, not on the left.
Okay.
It's kind of easier for me, but you may find it different. Okay, and then a nice edge stitch, 3 layers, seam allowances and the facing together. Seam allowances and the facing together. And I watch inside of the foot right now, and if you watch inside of the foot, it gives you a perfect 16 of the inch, but it's not mandatory. You can use your eye and do a little wider. long as it's not going beyond 1/8 of the inch. And it also depends on the fabric. If you have a heavy fabric, a little thicker. If you have a thin fabric, maybe 16 of the inch will work. With wool fabric, you will never do 16 of the inch with heavy wool and be nice with how it goes. So I think nice 8 of the inch will work better with a heavier fabric. But just like I said, watching the inside of the foot give you a good measurement for 16. That's it. After that, you will iron it. You will iron it when you're done and see how it goes toward the inside nicely. So the understitch really keeps it in place. You still need to iron it, but even if you don't iron, it's more stable than if you look at something very similar on the children's dress right there. Okay, so you can, if you want to make a quick shot on either side of it. So this is the wrong side of the garment, but the right side of the fabric, right? And this is the right side of the fabric, right side of the garment, and we don't see the facing rolling out because the understitch helps us to help that facing to stay in place.
So the understitch is on the wrong side.
It's on the wrong side of the garment, but it's
Right
often
side.
seen on the right side of the fabric. It goes toward the wrong side of the fabric, but when you make them, it's easier to stitch from the right side because you want it more nice and even on the right side. If there are any inconsistencies or anything, it all goes toward invisible part of the garment. You stitch. Because understitch is done with edge stitches. We're going to do the edge stitch sample later. But it's going to be very similar to this. With only difference that the edge stitch itself you can use for many purposes, including understitching. But edge stitch and the top stitch are kind of decorative stitches, and usually as far as we talk about decoration, even though they're functional, they help the seam to be stronger, they reinforce